Hello. Hi, everyone. Hopefully, I'm coming through okay. Let me know. Spoiler, you're not supposed to be on screen right now. Hey, if you're wondering something that might be in the June vote, forget you saw that. Hi, everyone. I'm Tom. If you didn't know already, congratulations on finding it if you didn't. Mind you, I suppose this video will be available in the future. It's not just the people that are watching it live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to, well, June, really. We'll talk about May a little bit. The videos that happened in it. We'll talk about, well, the thing that happened at the start of June, which technically should be in next month, but I'm not going to wait a whole month to talk about the UK Games Expo. Let's talk about that a bit and the few games we had a closer look at. And then we'll get on to kind of part of that will lead to the playthrough vote for June, which if you are on Patreon, oh, it's going to cut my hand off pointing at it. If you're on Patreon, then there is going to be a vote posted. It'll be the first thing I do, actually, as soon as this stream is finished. And it will determine the number one playthrough priority for the month. Hopefully, I get more than that done, but yeah, time's been really, really tight. There's been a lot on at the moment. Like, I only got a left null done out of last month's, but I still really want to play like Terra Mystica and Gaia Project and stuff. There's so much piled up here that needs playing, yeah, there's more exciting things on the way. It's the eternal problem, isn't it, with board games and that. But yeah, let us know, like, what have you got up to in May? What were you at the UK Games Expo? A lot of people were, from the looks of it. We were only there Friday and Sunday, and even from the Friday, it was so busy. Good though, right? Hey, Board Game Queens, how's it going? Hey, Martin. Oh, don't worry about interrupting me. You need to interrupt me sometimes. I'll never shut up with things. Lovely to see you though. Hey, Jackpot Man. Hey, Hans. How's it going? Good morning, good evening to everybody. So let's start off with some talk about if my button works. Things that happened in May. Hey, I remember to do all of this now. I had a few months not doing the recap thing. I thought, if I'm coming on to talk about the UK Games Expo and the vote anyway, we might as well do the recap, like the good old days. I've only missed a couple of times of doing it. Do you enjoy the recaps? Should I keep doing them? Let me know. So yes, in May, we had a playthrough kind of for the anniversary of the channel that happened at the very end of May. Throwback playthrough of The Pursuit of Happiness, this time with all of the expansions I had at the time. The Nostalgia expansion has arrived since. That'll be coming up in a future video, I hope. But yeah, you can see Pursuit of Happiness with all the other expansions turned on there in a solo playthrough again. It's one of the first videos I ever did. So also it was nice to go back to it. And it's got a bit of an extra twist, an extra feature in that it's a handheld playthrough, like the good old days. Well, depending on how you feel about handheld playthroughs, it's one of them. There's also a static camera option though, if you were never into the handheld ones, or you were never around for them and wonder why the screen's suddenly making you seasick. Next up we had, the end of the 1962 championship of Heat Pedal to the Metal, which is now kind of a bit more available. I think in the UK, doesn't seem like it's quite, the restock's quite made it over to everywhere yet, but hopefully it will. The championship is over. You can see all three races of that, all three races of the first championship, which did, and a couple of playthroughs beside. There's so much Heat content. Maybe I should do I don't think I'm going to have time to start another championship just yet, but there's another one in the box, and then you can mix and match and make your own championships up after that. I love Heat though. I would appreciate playing some more of it, but for now, there is another full championship on the channel. Hadrian's Wall came to an end. 16 forts in the solo championship. I think about there's a couple of playthroughs other than that, so there's like nearly 20 playthroughs of Hadrian's Wall on the channel. It must be the most played through channel, the most played through game on the channel out of all of the hundreds and hundreds of games that I've done. I don't think I've ever gone back to one as many times as Hadrian's Wall, but that's the beauty of the solo campaign for it. A lovely, more complex, flip and fill kind of game, but it's absolutely beautiful, and the solo campaign really enhances it, makes you go in different directions, try things you might not usually, and yeah, you can see the entire thing now on the channel over like a year and a half or something like that. So yeah, Hadrian's Wall Fort 16 happened. Then Fortune and Glory, so kind of jumping off the back of, I think it started like a bit more regularly last month with another series of Eldritch Horror. I've been trying to keep to kind of story Sundays. I'm thinking of them of. So these episodic things that are ongoing have nice story elements to them, of course, and kind of lend to these episodes, which helps because generally they're pretty long things as well. So it'd be pretty intense trying to get them all kind of edited and up all in one go. I like having them kind of separated out and you can come back and rejoin the story week by week. I hope you're enjoying them if you're into that kind of thing. So yeah, we had a new series of Eldritch Horror last month. Well, actually 2 months ago now. Then in May we had Fortune and Glory, a long out of print at the moment game of adventure, a similar kind of thing. You are globe trotting, but it's a lot more kind of adventure based, like Indiana Jones based, action packed. You have a load of encounters. When you fail an encounter, it goes to its cliffhanger side, so the bad thing happens, and it really works in that kind of switching between characters in a film kind of way. It's very dice chucky. It's even got some roll to move in there. Well, everybody rolls to move, so I suppose a lot of roll to move, but yeah, it works beautifully well. There's apparently supposed to be expansions, rumoured for well, not rumoured, teased, I'd say, by the publisher Flying Frog for it seems a couple of years, so hopefully they make it into reality at some point soon, because presumably the game would come back into print as well, you would hope, if they were going to make expansions for it, because yeah, I looked on a copy secondhand after a while of looking, because it's always a shame when you do a playthrough for a thing and you can't get it at the moment, but hopefully you can watch vicariously through my doings in Fortune and Glory. For like 3 episodes of that, there was an overview for Leviathan the Wilds, which is just finished. Presumably you can late pledge and stuff. But yeah, I did an overview for the Kickstarter for that, a co-op kind of Shadow of the Colossus inspired kind of thing. There are these great big Leviathans. Something's gone bad and corrupted them. You need to climb up them, try not to get battered away by them, avoid their attacks and things, and get rid of the gems that are corrupting them. It was on Tabletop Simulator just because of the availability of prototypes, but I really enjoyed it. I was paid to make the overview, I'll say, but separate to that, I did back it. So make of that what you will. Or just watch it from the overview. There's no opinion in it, I don't think. Maybe there is. Effusiveness might be. Aeon Trespass. Hey, let's avoid that whole topic. And I did an overview also on Tabletop Simulator with a kind of like one boss version of what's going to be coming in the spin-off to Aeon Trespass Odyssey, which we have been loving, even though the hundreds and hundreds of hours campaign, we're of course a fraction of the way through. A spin-off game uses a lot of the same, basics, but changes things up a bit. You can gamble for loot at the end of battles. You start out with skill cards. There's a different reason that you're in charge of all these titans and stuff. You can see how it all works in that overview. There's an official, hey, my catalogue of rules videos gets slightly bigger. The official rules video for Rome in a Day, which has just been published by Alley Cat Games, made its debut, I think, at the UK Games Expo. And sold out, I think, as well. A quick I split you choose kind of game. You're trying to build up a city and you draw some tiles every round. You decide which piles these go into. Buildings end up on the tiles, so how you split them up is affected by that, because the buildings that score want to be next to certain tiles. You can see the how to play video for how that works. And also, there was a new, improved, revised version of the how to play video for Aha, Rulers of Yucatan, which I originally did one for the prototype back on Kickstarter. There is an all new, all singing, all dancing one for the final version of the game, because, yeah, it should be arriving to backers if it hasn't already at the moment. Then Legacy of You. So, Hadrian's Wall finished, but a new kind of ongoing series has started in a campaign of Legacy of You, which I covered in a spoiler-free manner back when it was originally on Kickstarter. Now, we are spoiler full because there's loads and loads of different paths that you can go down in this game, depending on choices you make, things that you draw at different times. And so, yeah, we have had one game of the, I think it's max 7, right? As soon as you win or lose 4 games, you end the campaign, and it carries on whether you won or lost the game. So yeah, I won't spoil actually what happened in it. There will be a new one probably maybe not next week, the week after. I think we'll try and keep it to one a month anyway, and see what happens as we progress along. But if you haven't seen it yet, you can catch up on the channel. What's happened there? Oh, it's run out of space to record this. I don't want you to record everything. It just records every stream if it can. But yeah, all this filming and stuff I've been doing, hard drive space is getting scary at the moment. Scarily unavailable. There was a live stream of Aleph Null, which is a very tricky solo card game of summoning demons. And yeah, you've got to get certain cards out at the right time, which often require you to have a load of magical power or sacrifice other cards. You basically need to have these 3 key cards out and have no other cards in your deck, discard pile, or hand, and then you summon the demon Baphomet. You still don't necessarily win them because you get stuff deducted from your score and you might still lose. But yeah, even in its easiest mode, which I played, it can be very tricky because there's interference cards as well that you have to solve them first and they get in the way, make you lose a load of stuff. Yeah, it is a really, really cool puzzle of trying to get all of this to work. It's incredibly thematic as well. You can check that out in the stream that I did, which also Tony Boydell, the designer, came into the chat as well, and so is putting me right on stuff and deliberately not advising me so I can fail on my own. And then the latest in our Story Sunday series, which it's going to be concluding this weekend, is Arkham Horror 2nd Edition. My favourite, I think, still, of the Arkham files. Nostalgia plays into that, of course, because this is a game I got way before I would say I got into board games. I always used to be into board games when I was little, but I mean in the kind of more modern sense. Like, it was about 2008, I got this game. I didn't properly get into board games, I'd say, until something like 2013, something like that, I think. So yeah, there was a while when the only game I had was Arkham Horror, and for some reason that didn't inspire me to think maybe there'll be more games that exist in the world. It's like, no, this is the only board game, and hey, there was plenty to be doing in it. But yeah, it's even though it's had new additions, not so much spin-offs, but new kind of revisions in Eldritch Horror, like taking the same basic idea and making it global and streamlining things. For everything different that's happened and the card game and all of that stuff, there's something about the atmosphere and the way that the 2nd edition of Arkham Horror works. It just does a beautiful job, and hopefully you can see that in the playthrough as well. I just did a basic one with just base game stuff, because up to recently as well, when I filmed this playthrough, I'd never played with an expansion of Arkham Horror, because I thought I don't want to mix anything in, just show it, because you can quite easily and fairly cheaply get a copy of this version still. There are loads of copies about. The expansions, that's a bit of another matter. Not as many of them about, and they're quite expensive. But yeah, I thought I'd do one with nothing else on it at the moment. And so yeah, episode 3 of that's going to be coming up on Sunday. And so for early access for patrons, hey, patreon.com/slickerdrips if you'd like to join up and support the channel. Thanks if you can. Yeah, there's going to be a new story series, which I have actually posted on Patreon what it's about, what series it's going to be. Rach is in it, doing some story time too. But we'll leave that as a surprise for now. Is that the last thing? I feel like the next picture... Oh no, there was For the King and Me, which is a new re-implementation of Biblios, changes a few things, the second place for for all of the categories, rather than just whoever wins the category gets the points. But it's a game in 2 halves. There's some card drafting. You draw cards for the number of players, +1. So, and 1 card you get yourself. 1 card you have to put into an auction pile, and then there's a card each that goes into a common pool for all the other players, and they decide in order which card they want. There's cards that give you power in a colour, which, you know, whoever has the most value in a colour at the end of the game gets the points for that colour. There's cards that adjust how much points they're worth, and there's money cards. We keep going until the decks run out, and then the second half of the game is an auction. Every card that everyone sent to the auction, and it's tricky deciding where the cards go, because you draw cards one at a time and decide, is this good enough for me to keep, or am I going to send that to the auction and maybe not get it later, or am I going to put it into the common pile where my opponent's going to have a good card? But once you've decided that one's going to be for me and you draw a better card, tough luck, you've already picked, you've got to put it somewhere else. It's Beautiful, beautiful game. So is Biblios as well. But yeah, there, in the second half of the game, you have an auction for all those cards we sent to the auction, spending your money and other cards to try and mop up, or if you know you haven't done well in a colour, try and reduce the amount of points it's worth, all that kind of stuff. Whether it's For the King and Me or original Biblios, it's been a fantastic game for years and years and years, but maybe a bit more available. I'm not sure if it ever went out of print. But yeah, For the King and Me, that's got Rach in it as well, because, yeah, Little Class Marty's not so good at auctions and stuff. And I think, oh yeah, the last thing that happened in May was a video that, even if you couldn't go or were never going to go to the UK Games Expo, I talked about a load of games that were going to be there and that I would check out, given half a chance. So you can see me talk about, I think, about 30-ish games there, and we might be seeing some of them come up in the vote and stuff. Look at me poor Beatles mug. Look at the state of that. Did not enjoy being dishwashed. That hasn't lasted, well, I suppose it lasted about 18 months. I realised that's going to be in a stream there. But yeah, that's all the stuff that happened in May in terms of videos and stuff. There was also, I think on the 1st of June, there was a playthrough of Karuka that I suppose will be in next month's recap video. But yeah, I'd check it out. I had a laugh with it. It's a game I really enjoy anyway. But in terms of making playthroughs of dexterity games, it might not be enjoyable if the person making it isn't very good at dexterity games. But judge for yourselves if you like that or not. Which I find you'd love to have been there. Yeah, it was huge this year, I think. Hey Sam, you're just thinking about buying this game. Oh, which one? Oh, was it? I think it popped up actually at Pursuit of Happiness, wasn't it? Yeah, which presumably as well going to be more in stock than ever with all the final stuff coming out. So which big things, like just generally the UK Games Expo, it's a great big convention. Like, I can't speak to any of the American ones. I've never been to an American convention, or pretty much everyone in the world. I've been to Manacon and GridCon, both of which are mainly, you know, play games conventions, and then the UK Games Expo, which is a more SNE kind of thing, where most of it is people with booths selling you their wares, maybe demoing you their game if you've got space, but mainly there to buy stuff. Loads of new things to demo or buy there this year, and it's kind of mini UK Essen. Like nothing can really, as I said, maybe something like Gen Con could, but nothing can approach the kind of scale of something like Essen. There's that kind of thing in it. So yeah, I don't really know what to say about the convention in general. There's never enough time to do it all. Yeah, it just flies by because there's so much to look at and so much to do there. But we did get a bit of a closer look at a few things, and I relied on my official photographer, Rach, to take some pictures of some of the things. So what have we got first? Oh yeah, Rach was taking some pictures of the final version of Isle of Trains, which actually I think UK backers at least have been receiving this just before the expo. So yeah, you can see all the metal coins and the finished pieces and the playmat and stuff. You'll be seeing this all make an appearance, maybe in the vote, but also coming up as soon as I can get it done, there will be a new rules video, a new official how to play for Isle of Trains All Aboard, the new version from Dranda Games. So yeah, you can see a few shots of the game in action, or the game on display at the expo, and some of the things like the little printed meeples and the metal, that's some of the meeples again, and the metal points tokens that I assume a Kickstarter add-on. There's also some lovely sleeves available for it as well, like with Isle of Trains backs on them. Then this is Luthia. So this is the next game from Patterson Games, who made Distilled. It's a bit of a ways away yet. It's about a year or so out. So there is no art yet. There is gameplay and testing and demoing and stuff, but no art is finished yet. I think save for a couple of pictures of like Mozart and stuff. The art is going to be by Vincent Dutrait. So presumably you've seen plenty of games illustrated by him over the years, and it's really going to like help enhance that kind of hand-drawn kind of feel. So yes, this time we are making instruments. We are families of instrument makers, trying to make instruments for patrons. So if we have a look at the main board over here, you see there's a great big orchestra pit in the middle. We are going to be trying to get recipes for the instruments that we can make. You get patrons over on the right hand side there. I think that picture's upside down actually. Yeah, you recruit patrons like Bach and Mozart and stuff that want particular types of instruments to be made. You got to get the ingredients to make them and stuff. It's all done through worker placement, but there's some kind of bidding for it where you have different discs of workers to place that have different skill values. So you, the master craftsman, are a 5, but the person who's just started working for you perhaps is just a 1. And so there's kind of bidding. You put them face down, so the order of the actions we reveal after everybody's placed everything. And so I might have placed first but only put my 1 down, but someone else put a 5 down, so they're going to get first dibs on whatever gets taken here. There's always like an alternative thing you can do, so get some resources and stuff. If there was only one thing you wanted and it got taken, there's always something that you can do there. But yeah, it's going to have some worker placement bidding involved in it. And yeah, it's when you make stuff as well, you're going to fill the orchestra in the middle with stuff, so it's gradually going to fill up with instruments as the game goes on. Have we got any more pictures of it? I think they're metal coins from Distilled, but yeah, if you haven't seen the fancy Kickstarter stuff from Distilled, there it is. And so, oh yeah, you can see the workers there with the different numbers and stuff on them. And then, oh yeah, so this Rachel's perhaps most anticipated game of the year now. The game Kitten, which you might have seen my video for a few years ago now from Alley Cat Games. A stacking game is coming out again with reimagined, rethemed to Pusheen, a famous cartoon cat kind of thing that Rach is really excited about and really into. Yeah, it's a game of like, so you can see on the cards there, they've got different shapes of how the kittens need to be stacked. We reveal a card and everybody races to try and make that configuration by stacking up the differently coloured shapes. And it's now got, oh, I skipped too far. Yes, that's going to be coming out later in the year, we think. So that's just like an early prototype of how it might look in the end as well. Like, things are subject to change. But I don't know why I said but. Next is the word I was looking for, is Imperial Miners from Portal Games, which we headed out to a secret location. Doesn't have to be secret. It's a hotel lobby. I'm sure people walked past thinking we were strange. But this is the latest in the Imperial Settlers series family. So you've got like the base game, Empires of the North, the Roll and Write, and now Imperial Miners, where you might recognise the artwork, the factions and stuff. This is an easier to play, faster version of the game, but keeps like a load of the engine building kind of stuff. So I'll say we played so it was just me and Rach. We were taught the basics of the game by Ignacy of Portal Games in minutes, like under 5 minutes. It felt like a few sentences, and we played the entire game in about 20 minutes. It says like the player count does go beyond 2, of course, and I think it says on the box about 30 to 45, 30 to 60, something like that. It's a really fast playing game, but it's full of some cool decisions. So, they're coming up in the wrong order. So these are tracks that you can go up. They are different every game. They're all double-sided. And so there are a load of actions in the game that require you to advance. You decide which track you want to start advancing up when you first have to advance. In this game we had diplomacy that had a mix of all kind of things. Economy was great at getting you money, and then when you got to the top, spend money on getting a load of points. And technology was more around, you got a load of money from it, but then you could activate different cards when you got to certain stages of it. But the main thing that you are doing is building this mine. So you start out just with that player board at the top and a hand of cards of different levels. The levels of cards will get more powerful as you go down, but you're restricted. So a level 1 card has got to go right underneath your player board. It costs nothing to put down. Later on, the cards start getting more and more expensive to put down. But how it works is, you've got to play a card on your turn somewhere. So at the start of the game, you play a level 1 card. It does something basic like get 2 money. what you do is activate that and then everything above it. So you trace a kind of line back. So I would get my 2 money, and then there's 3 basic actions on that card, which is get 2 money, pay some money to advance on those tracks, or draw some more cards. And you can decide whether they're from level 1, 2, or 3. I think you draw 3 cards and you decide where they're coming from to keep your hand topped up. So you can always choose any of those no matter where your card is. But then, say next turn, I want to put a card in level 2. I wish I, like, what if I change my camera to be in front of that picture and then I can point at stuff? There we go. Genius. So I put a level 2 card down next turn. It lets me advance on a track 1 step. So what I can do now is advance on my 1 track, and then this card that I placed last turn that let me gain 2 coins, I activate that as well. This is actually Rachel's player sheet, so the powers of the cards aren't there. I'm remembering what mine were, not hers. So I can move on my track and get 2 money and do something from the baseboard. And you can see how that compounds later on. I put a level 3 card down. That lets me do the action on this card. Then I can choose either of these cards to activate. And then I can choose, like, you only activate 1 of each level, but you draw a path through the cards to activate all of this stuff. And as you can imagine, it leads to some really cool combos. Like, I think it's the next card, my player board. There's also an event card every round to kind of track that there are only 10 rounds of the game, and to give a little twist on things. There might be do something, pay something at the end of the round to get a reward, either in points or advancing on those tracks. There might be like the first turn of the game for us was play a card, like draw a card from the deck and play it for free from the level 1 deck, and it goes straight away for free. So that means, like, you don't actually start the game with money, so you couldn't probably play a level 2 card, but suddenly you've got an extra choice in your minds. There was, like, so the second card that I played there was the one I was saying, advance once on a track, or advance twice if you've already advanced this turn. The event for that round had let me advance already that turn. It let everyone advance 1 step at the start of the round. So technically I had already advanced. I moved twice, did both activations. That's the kind of thing with the advancements. If it lets you move 5 steps, you only do the thing where you end up. So you skip across all the benefits. Some cards, though, let you do everything along the way. So, of course, like later on, this is Rachel's board. It doesn't matter. You can't read what the cards say, I don't think, from here. But later on, I played another card that was like advance some things. So that's led to this card, meaning I'd already advanced something, so I could advance twice and keep getting money to advance me up that economy track and stuff. As I say, it played so quickly. I hope that wasn't just a garbled mess of trying to get across what the game was like. There's also these really powerful, cool 4 cards, which might do really cool things. I played a load that just got me some points. The diamond you simply see as points. But the other beauty of the 4 cards is it lets you activate your great big combo. Again, even if you get these amazing combos, which I did, I rocketed into the lead early on. Got so many points from this beautiful combo I was able to pull off. But you're limited to how many times you can keep doing that, because once I'd placed the 2 4 cards either side of my 3, I can't activate that full thing again. I could put something, alongside the 3 and activate the 2 again and have a truncated version of it. But yeah, there's also some matching of the full or empty minecart symbols. Each one then gets you a point at the end. Yeah, really looking forward to that. Had a great time playing that. And I think, what's going to be next? Oh, it's the things that I got. I meant to take this picture out. This is just something I bought to store stuff in. There was a company called Warmag there that sold, there's like a magnetically receptive sheet that you can put in one of these really useful boxes, they're called, and little magnet sheets to put on the bottom of figures. And so as you can see, gravity has been defied for certain minis from me. Mansion Madness stuff is just loose in boxes, and it's always scary when it has to go to a friend's house to play it. So you can see that little problem might have been solved for now. It's full of the investigators for now. Downside is I've got clear bases. I can't put great big magnets underneath them. Otherwise, I'd defeat the point of the clear bases, I guess, wouldn't I? But yeah, there's a cool thing to check out. I'm gonna try it with some other stuff over there. Heffy Bear. We're grateful for champion older games recently. We're not all made of money to buy the new and shiny. Yeah, it's like it's tough in it as well, because like I'm excited about all the new stuff that keeps coming out, but And the older stuff can be hard to get, but it's always worth looking back. Like, I think sometimes as well, because I've been doing this for a long time and playing games in general for a long time, I sometimes think with something, everyone's seen that, everyone's sick of that now, like that old game. What's the point in doing a video about that now? It's done. But like, not only is maybe that's not true, maybe people haven't seen all of those other videos or not wanted to watch them, or like the next video might change their minds or turn them around on something. But also there's a load of people like sometimes like forget that not everyone's been doing this like as long as I have, and this might be your first introduction to that particular game as well. So like there's always that chance as well. Try and keep it balanced for all the stuff. There's loads of stuff to be juggling. The vote will help with that as well though. Oh, this is it's not off the screen, that's space behind, not the edge of the the camera. So yeah, you can get Warmag if you want to. Not sponsored, I bought it. I bought that whole thing. It came with a purple spacey sheet and then stuff to stick your magnets to stick on the bottom of your minis. Where's the rest of the oh, there's meant to be one more picture. I don't know where that's gone. Hang on, let me... It doesn't matter, it was just a picture of all the stuff that we bought. Rach got a lovely Japanese-themed dice cup, because she's not the best at rolling dice, especially when there's a load. The Arkham dice cup that I've got, that you might have seen in the playthroughs, works really nicely. So she's got her own one of them to use in every game, not just the Arkhamy ones. And I got some painting things. That's something I meant to put in the vote actually. So there was talk a few months ago of like some requests for painting streams. Like, I don't do it all the time. I have phases of painting minis, and I don't think I'm like particularly good at it. So it wouldn't be a stream of like, here's how to do amazing things. I like whatever painting skill I had before, it's been overwhelmed by using speed paints and stuff. But yeah, if you'd be interested in seeing something like that, yeah, I'm unsure about doing it, and unsure about how I would have paints and stuff up here ruining the already tarnished, lovely purple playmat that all the playthroughs have to happen on. Well, maybe that's something to do. Oh, Michael, you're waiting for you're ready for your Isle of Trains. It shouldn't be long. Like it's different depending where you are in the world, isn't it? But yeah, the UK ones are here and getting sent out now, so it should hopefully not be very long. What else did we get? Oh yeah, Rach got a little kit from a company that gave you like a mini and some paints in one box. Rach has never painted anything and never wanted to. Like, thinks that she'll mess it up and all of that stuff. But yeah, there's a kit to kind of help you out and instructions for every step along the way. She's going to give that a try, maybe even tonight actually, which would be really cool, because if it's something she'd enjoyed, it's something we could do together. And the benefit of that is you get some stuff painted twice as quickly. Because yeah, even with speed paints, I'm not very quick. It takes me ages. That'd be another thing in a stream. I don't know how much I'd get done even a few hours of painting stuff. So yeah, that's the basic stuff that we got from there. Where can I get that? You're a picture. Oh, that's a picture of just... I'm not sure why that's there, but here's just a picture of Marty being stroked. I'm not sure why that's here from the past. This is on my my streaming setup page. Let me get that, because it kind of leads into the... Yeah, there it is. It kind of leads into the playthrough vote section. So this isn't stuff picked up for the UK Games Expo. I know, like, this isn't a normal amount of games to have at anything. This is kind of the whole of May and the beginning of June, I suppose, because the expo was in June. So yeah, this is pretty much a lot of the stuff is going to be in the vote. I haven't put Friends Seen It in the vote. That was from a car boot sale. I was very excited about that. But no, I won't subject you to that. I don't think that would get many votes, but maybe it'd surprise me. I've got that lamp to do painting with as well, that Twist and Go. It's like a really bright lamp that's definitely made stuff easier. Bought it, like a load of this stuff. And then some stuff because I've been nostalgic and regretting not having games anymore, I've picked up Escape and Legendary, because as much as I enjoy Marvel Champions, I do like the ongoing deck building stuff that Legendary had. We just got too many expansions for it, I think, and it kind of fell apart under the amount of content that it had. Just got a couple of things now, but let's have a look at the things that are going to turn up in the June playthrough vote, which will be getting posted on Patreon after this stream is finished. So if you are on patreon.com/slickerdrips at the voter level or above, then you can have your say in what you would like to turn up this month first. And if I go over to the voting scene, hey, it worked. So the options are going to be the Icefarian Guard. Remember that ridiculously enormous box that you just saw in that picture? That one, it's huge. It's like, is it bigger than Frosthaven? It's enormous. It weighed a ton. So this is another one of those great big co-op adventure campaign games that I've got so much time for, right? I can't help it. I get so excited when I see them. So this is a 1 to 2 player only game as well. So you take on the role of, depending on the chapter that you're playing, you take on the role of a pair of guards trying to survive the wildlife, the monsters, so it is. There's some minis you play as, but it's just like a mini for each set of guards depending on the chapter. There is some bag building involved in the combat. There's these great big chips that are involved in that. It's not like supposed to all be about combat. There's ways to kind of get around it. There's not just tests of having great big battles. There's also going to be, what am I trying to say here? There's ways to talk people around and stuff as well, apparently. But there you go. There's a look in the great big box. So it's got some like trays for all of your stuff. That's like your guards, and then it had like there's a lot of. I've kept it all sealed really. You have boxes full of cards for all of what the enemies do and stuff. These are all like the item cards. There's some great big trays that go all the way along the depth of this great big box with all of the poker chips in. It looks beautifully made. It's got a load of like game trays and stuff, I think, for the various cubes and things. Yeah, a lot of stuff, all with dividers and things as well. Yeah, it looks like some lovely art. But yeah, I haven't dived in just yet. Of course, I only picked up a few days ago. And where I have been in the last few days is at the expo and then at work. So apart from that, yeah, I haven't dived in yet. I mean, look at that. 9.2. I know a lot of that will be like the only people that have it back the Kickstarter, right, at the moment, or as I did, bought it from people who did back the Kickstarter and didn't want it anymore. But there we go. The Icefarian Guard. I'm really excited about so many of these things. It's one of those months where I'm so excited for stuff and know how many am I going to have time for. I want to have like rollover months, but then I don't want to I want to have all different options available for everybody to pick from. So it's not just like, oh, these again. I didn't want any of these last month. But yeah, I want to get to them all. So a couple of new things from Funko Games that I think it seemed like sold out at the expo as well. Disney Animated, we take on the roles of animators at the Walt Disney Animation Studios, and we have all different roles, asymmetric powers, I think, whether you're like the inker or the storyboard artist and stuff. We have these player boards here where you need to find tiles that make up the background. You need to build the background up, but it also comes with these like clear, Mystic Veil kind of cards with the various characters on that will build up the scene like that as well. But we also, of course, have Disney villains that have emerged from the movies and are going to be trying to make life very difficult for us. You can see in the background there, that's like the various inks and paints and things that are available. I can point at things with a mouse. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Really excited about that. And like Rach is excited about the theme for this one very much as well. So Disney Animated. Also from Funko Games, there's a load of new Indiana Jones based games. There's an escape room game. There's a kind of dexterity game as well. But the one I was excited for, the one I am going for, is a cooperative game where you're basically playing through stuff in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You are trying to get the Ark of the Covenant before it falls into the wrong hands of the dangerous Major Tot and Dr. Belloc to try and save the Ark. And look at this, it's got a great big sand tower thing in the middle of the board. It looks so cool. We watched Raiders of the Lost Ark again very, very recently. So good. Enjoyed it so much. Inspired actually by the Fortune and Glorying. But Yes, so that's Indiana Jones Sands of Time. Next up, it is Sentinels of the Multiverse Definitive Edition, Rook City Renegades. So a new big expansion to Sentinels of the Multiverse. You know, there were a million for the original edition, so they are getting enhanced and refined the same way that the base game was in the Definitive Edition. Basically, like, I loved playing Sentinels again last year. Like, it had been too much of a gap for me to judge whether or not, like, oh, this is different to this is different to this. It felt like the same kind of thrill of playing it, but without a load of the fiddly upkeep bits, to be as vague as I can about it. Well, that's as specific as I can get about it, actually. But yeah, loads of new things, loads of new villains, new heroes, new environments to play in the first expansion for it, and includes, actually, like, me and Rachel were looking through it, and I can't remember why, the only thing that really sticks out, here it is, Ambuscade. Really, really, like, above anything else from the original version when we used to have it, whenever, 2014, 2015. Ambuscade is the one that, oh, this guy, I remember this guy. But yeah, would you like to see some more Sentinels, basically, is what I'm saying, because I would. Next up is Rebuilding Seattle. Oh, a couple from WizKids now. So this is on advice and recommendation from a few people since, actually, but mainly from Paul Grogan, who, you know, on hearing that I hadn't played Rebuilding Seattle yet, was horrified and made recommendations, made arrangements for me to, hey, you need to get to this because it works amazingly solo. So yeah, we're basically building up neighborhoods and stuff in Seattle, responsible for managing the zoning and expansion of a major neighborhood. Really like the look of it. Most of all, the recommendation from Paul. That's all I really need. Do you want to see that first of all? Also coming from WizKids is Bargain Basement Bathysphere, which is a solo-only roll and write. Yeah, it's a campaign, isn't it? So this was originally a print and play thing. You might, I'm not sure if you still can, you know, print your own version out just, you know, in black and white like this. I remember I can't remember when it originally came out, but for years and years and years, this was one of the things that, like, I'm gonna find time, I'm gonna get around to that, and I am gonna print it all out and play it because it sounds really, really cool. You're basically like having adventures under the sea in a really, you know, run down, cobbled together bathysphere and trying your best to survive through all of that. It's very like seems to have a good sense of humor to it as well. But yeah, so there's the print and play version, but this has been taken up last year by WizKids and made all into, you know, dry white boards, full art on all of the stuff. Looks really, really, really cool. And I'm looking forward to get into it. And I think, is the campaign, am I remembering this right? Oh yeah, originally for 2018 this came out. If I'm remembering, looking through right, there's like 20 chapters potentially for this. So this could be, they're quick games, but this could potentially be an ongoing thing if you want to see some BBB. Next up is One Deck Galaxy. So you might have seen, actually, I can't remember what I was talking about. It might have been in the Discord. I have been playing from Rob's Tabletop World, talking about great games to play on the Steam Deck. One of them, which I agree was One Deck Dungeon, which I had never played up to that point. A couple of weeks ago, I got it. It's only a few pounds on the Steam Deck. It seemed like a really, like, this is just what the game would be like, playing it for real. Having dice placement adventures in a fantasy dungeon setting. So I did go, it's one of the many things that I was going to look out for at the expo. Didn't come across any One Deck Dungeon, but the new space version of it was there, so I thought I would pick that up. So would you like to see some One Deck Galaxy in action, where rather than delving into dungeons and getting loot and stuff, you're trying to build up a lovely civilization, a lovely federation in space. Next up, also from a recommendation by Mike, one of my patrons. I've not picked up the exact one, but Maximum Apocalypse Wasted Wilds is the latest, not edition, it's like a standalone expansion right, to a post-apocalyptic survival game, cooperative roguelike game series. So like I could potentially in the future get hold of like the base game or something like that. But yeah, you are in a post-apocalyptic world trying to survive against all of the various horrors. Depending on the character you pick, you've got like a different deck to play with, filled with adventure, exploration, survival, and strategic choices, built from the ground up to be very modular and infinitely replayable. And like if I can get hold of the expansions, I might be buying one actually. It's got all sorts of things like the general post-apocalyptic stuff, but it can have like kaiju and dinosaurs, and Cthulhu have been like more outlandish, zombies I think, been more like outlandish expansions for it. But yeah, loads of different things that you can plug in. And I think this apparently has more of a focus on kind of ongoing campaign stuff rather than the other versions of it have maybe been more standalone. But yeah, this is my first delve into Maximum Apocalypse, or will be when I get around to playing it. But hey, your vote means I'd be picking it first. As I mentioned earlier, I am going to be doing an official rules video, an official how to play for Isle of Trains very, very soon, which should be arriving with backers as we speak. But while I'm at it, would you like to see a solo playthrough? I did a playthrough with the prototype, me and Little Glass Marty training it out over there. But it's got a solo mode. Would you like to see a full solo mode of a full playthrough of the solo mode in action? And finally, you saw it in the big pile of stuff, although not quite. I missed that cover. I've got the big box for it. I miss having that old cover on it. But yeah, would you like to see some Escape Curse of the Temple? It's another one that I think like, oh, maybe it's dead old and people have seen too much of it. But if you're into real-time things, especially, it's a very, like, you can see the weight of it. There's not like, it's not full of rules and stuff, but for something that just takes 10 minutes and is fairly simple to explain, it is so funny. It is so fun to play. It's just like, it's that real-time thing of constant dice chucking, trying to get the symbols that you need to move on to different tiles, achieve the aim of the particular tile that you're on. You're trying to get these crystals, these cursed gems, onto where they need to be in this 10-minute timer before you get trapped in there. There's all sorts of curses that you can get that make you have to, have one hand on your head, or you can't speak, and all of that kind of stuff. There's extra modules that can get thrown in. Like I think the base game had a couple that you could turn on. This big box that I've got has got a ridiculous amount of them. There are so many things in there. Organising all of that stuff was a bit intimidating, because I think we had maybe one separate box expansion when we originally had Escape. Yeah, I'm not saying that I would turn all of those on, but yeah, I think we could have some good fun playing some Escape if you would like to see it. So those are the 10 options for this month anyway. I will be making the vote post as soon as I finish this stream, basically. So you can click on, and I'll find out fairly soon what you would like me to do first, and we'll get to either filming or streaming them where I can, really, because yeah, I hope you agree. There's a lot in there to be excited about. Hey Shiffy, how's it going? I've just finished talking about most of the stuff now. Hey, here's some of the stuff that I've been talking about. Here's some of the games and things. But yeah, I'll be making the playthrough vote post on Patreon in 10 minutes or so, I reckon. I've just got to write those names down and do a little post about it. And we'll see what the top picks are for June. And yeah, we'll hopefully be seeing as many of those as possible. Also coming up though, like there are some of these will be making appearances actually on Patreon soon. Like there's playthroughs coming up for Karma Games' new game, publisher of Clans of Caledonia. They are publishing a game called Thiefdom. There's going to be a playthrough for the next Valeria game, Castellans of Valeria. They're both coming up next week. There's Isle of Trains is coming up. There is the new roll and write from Postmark Games, Waypoints. That'll be coming up in June. And actually, I've left it downstairs. I meant to bring it up to show it off, but I haven't opened it yet. Just arrived today is the prototype, the pre-production copy of Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux. That is the next Garfield Games Kickstarter. So this is an all-new game that replaces, that supersedes the original Shipwrights of the North Sea. I've not actually played any of I think I played Raiders of the North Sea, a long time ago. Someone at the game group we used to go to played that with us. But yeah, this is going to be my first proper in memory play of a North Sea game, and it's this new, yeah, not even revised. It's a new game, I think, as far as things go, and it's going to plug in with is it Rune Saga, the expansion that ties all the three together. It's going to plug in with that all fine. It's just going to be like a new and improved thing. So that arrived basically today. Haven't even had a chance to open it yet because I've been filming this playthrough down here. There's going to be 2 playthroughs for Thiefdom. I've been filming one today. And so yeah, there's loads and loads of stuff. The rules videos that I mentioned, there's a lot that I'm trying to get done, as well as all of the normal playthroughs. I'm trying to keep these story things coming up every Sunday. Yeah, there's a lot going on. You can help keep it all happening either on Ko-fi or on Patreon if you would like to. If you are able to and would like to, of course. I'd really appreciate it. It's how it can all happen, really. Right, Thursday, your big box pledge for The Witcher Old World will arrive. That looks really cool. I regret I didn't back Icefaring God, to be fair. I saw it posted in a UK Games Expo trade group and bought someone else's copy because yeah, I hadn't noticed it when it was originally on Kickstarter. I don't think it's only people mentioning it since. I think people mentioning it in the most anticipated games, definitely for this year they were mentioning it. Maybe even last year people were saying like you should check this thing out. But yeah, Witcher Old World is another one that I'd love to be checking out. You never know though. Maybe in the future. Hey Italy, how's it going? Oh, you are not Italy. Hello, representative of Italy. How's it going? Thank you for joining us. So I've kind of said all of the things that I want to say in this stream. So we've covered all of the stuff that happened in May, talked about the UK Games Expo a bit and the few games we got to play in depth there. Hopefully, like, I'm getting more stuff as well. Like, I picked up some things, some of the stuff that I put in my, like, really want to get video, my preview video. I thought, like things like Pauper's Ladder. I still definitely want it a load. I just thought, if I buy it now, there's already this wall of things that I need to get played. It's just going to sit there getting forgotten and getting overridden with other stuff. So, yeah, I need to, like, let's hold off on that in a minute until this wave of things passes. But hopefully, in the future, I'll get to some of those other things that I mentioned, and some of them were like just coming off on Kickstarter. There was another game. Is anyone at the expo in the chat? There was a game about like a wildlife conservation, wildlife preserve that looked really cool as well. We didn't get a chance to. It was very busy there. We didn't get a chance to stop off and have a look at what it was. I need to refresh my mind on what it was called actually, because it seems worth checking out. That's coming to Kickstarter later on in the year. Oh, Hans, you've just started with it, and it's great, but you need so much space. That scares me. Not so much for, like, the table downstairs is pretty big. This table's kind of big, but yeah, you can only fit so much in the camera. I have to really squash stuff in when I'm trying to film things for it. Like, if it comes to making a playthrough, because that would be great. Like, I imagine there would be long episodes, but I would love to do like an ongoing thing for maybe a chapter of Icefaring God. It's just cramming it all in, really, isn't it? So thank you everyone for joining me. I hope that you can check out some of the stuff you might have missed that came out in May. I hope you're looking forward to the games that are going to be in the playthrough vote. We will see what the patrons decide is gonna get filmed first. I'll try and do everything that I can beyond one of them. But yeah, you saw the things that I was listing then. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up in June. It's going to be an exciting month. And yeah, there's still normal playthroughs coming up around all of that as well. And we'll have some live streams. We'll have that continuing the Legacy of You series as well will be happening this month too. Thank you everyone for being here, and I will see you all very, very soon on Patreon. There's going to be more playthroughs coming up. Actually, for the next 3 days, there's going to be a new playthrough every day on Patreon. I think there is going to be a new one. In case you missed it, Stroganoff Turrican, the new expansion for Stroganoff, is on Kickstarter now. I've just done a playthrough and overview video if you just want to know what's new in the expansion, or you want to see the whole thing in action. A load of people asked for was it last year or the year before for Stroganoff? Like, where's Stroganoff in your top 10? Why haven't you done a playthrough for this yet? I finally got a copy of it and got around to it. It's just that playthrough also includes the expansion and stuff as well. So yeah, and then there's this, and then on Sunday there will be the final episode of Arkham Horror 2nd Edition on Patreon though. Something new is starting. You can see on the coming up post on Patreon what that is. Thank you so much everyone for being here, and yeah, I will see you all in pre-recorded form very, very soon. Bye everyone. See ya. Bye.